Tonight's video is on lesson 3.7, formulas and functions. And I will preface this video by saying sometimes people really struggle with this, and this really is a lesson on, do we know how to apply our properties of algebra to solve equations? So we're going to be looking at a lot of formulas, and we're going to start looking at some functions as well. So formulas, relate two or more real life quantities. So for example, we have formula for area, for interest, for temperature, for distance. We have all kinds of formulas. The list could go on and on and on. And so we're going to use all of these formulas to solve for a different variable within the formula. So if I have the formula for area of a rectangle, let's say, and I don't want to know what the formula is to solve for area. I want to solve that formula for W or for the width. I can manipulate this equation by dividing both sides by length, which is the variable that's with the W, and I can divide both sides by L. And then that would give me A divided by L equals W. So if I wanted to know what's the formula for the area of a rectangle given the area and length. Now, most times we're just going to plug in the area and the length and we're going to solve for W. That's not what this lesson is about. This lesson is about, can you manipulate these formulas using your properties of algebra? So I get that you would put in your quantities and just solve it, but we're really trying to focus on, do we know our properties and can we apply them here? The next one is our interest formula. Interest equals principal times rate times time. And if I wanted to solve that for the principal, then I would take both sides of the equation and divide it by the rate and time. And I can do that all in one step because it's all multiplication on the right side. So I'm going to take the r and the t together and divide both sides by r and t. So interest divided by rate times time is my principal. Okay, so we're going to be working on a lot of these, and you have a couple of them that we'll do in class and for homework and things like that. So this is something that's important. We want to know how to manipulate our equations. All right, the next thing we're going to look at are functions. And functions is an equation written in function form, has a variable isolated. And the isolated variable is the output and is a function of the input. So we've talked about input and output already this year, and you do it on your Mountain Math. And so it says the isolated variable is the output, and the function and is a function of the input. So we have P equals 4 times S, so that would be perimeter equals 4 times the length of the side if we wanted to find the perimeter of a square. So that is an example of a function. Y is a function of x means y is isolated. So y would have to be all by itself. And that's what we're going to spend quite a bit of time looking at and solving in the upcoming chapters, is solving for y when we have a function. So here's an example. It says to rewrite the equation 2x minus y equals 9. So y is a function of x. And so in order to do that, we're going to take the equation and we're going to isolate the y. We want the y all by itself. Again, it seems silly right now, I know, but this is going to come in very handy in a couple chapters as we're graphing equations. So we're going to start by subtracting 2x from both sides. So we'll have negative y equals 9 minus 2x. But we cannot have negative y. We don't want that to be negative. We want it to be positive. So we're going to multiply the entire equation by negative 1. So y is going to equal negative 9 plus 2x. Now that is a perfectly fine answer. There's nothing wrong with it, except I want us to get in the habit of writing it so that the x and its coefficient is written before the constant. And we've talked about constants and coefficients earlier, so you should know what those are. So I really would like you to write it as y equals 2x minus 9. Now on a test or a quiz, will I accept either answer? Yes, I will. But really try to get in the habit of putting 2x minus 9 instead. So here's a problem I'd like you to do. I'd like you to rewrite this equation. 5x plus y equals negative 8. So y is a function of x. And when you get that, I want you to use the result to find y when x is -2, -1, 0, and 1. So I want you to basically make an input-output table. Plug in -2, -1, 0, and 1 for x and find out what y equals. So have that for class for tomorrow. Enjoy your night.